Now you're pushing it.
And I only went half.
And we have an awful lot to get through tonight. But I would like to start with a minute's silence in remembrance of former councillor Judith Roberts, who died on the 5th of October. Mr Roberts was a councillor from 2003 to 2023 and was chair in 2009. So can I ask for a minute's silence, please? Thank you. Okay, thanks very much for that. Public question time. I'm guessing we're nobody from the public here, so let's skip back to that. As usual, the meeting will be recorded. Is there anybody else who would like to make a recording? No? Before we start the meeting, there's quite a big agenda today. Can I remind everybody that during any debates, please be respectful to each other. This should apply in meetings and emails. Can I also add that this option applies to the clerical team as well as other councillors? Thank you. Okay, are there any items to be heard in private session? Apologies and reasons for absence.
You saw I sent out five councillors who are absent: Councillor Davies, Councillor Dixon, Councillor Firth, Councillor Osborne, Councillor Stewart.
Are we all happy to vote that those absences are okay? Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay. Receipt of written declaration of pecuniary and other interests.
Just one to note, which is Councillor Ramsby's, which was approved by Service Provision in September. So that's been redacted and uploaded to the website. So it's just a note.
Okay. And the declaration of interest in agenda items and written dispensations.
So just declarations of interest for us.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a little flippant, but the Councillor Green's proposal goes ahead. I'll be signing up.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Written dispensations from Councillors Green, Kirby, Morgan, Ramsby and Wilson. Does that need approval or is that just...
They need approval, yeah.
They're in the pack, can we all approve or not? And all those in favour?
Can I approve myself?
Okay, thank you.
I mean, just to go through this bit as well.
Yeah.
Just the people need to start doing that process if they want dispensations.
So, to note, Holme Valley Parish Council dispensation procedures approved by Council on the 23rd of June 2025. Council should familiarise themselves with this procedure. And also to note the members' dispensation log and also the written dispensation application template that councils must use when requesting a written dispensation on the matter. Those are just to know. Okay. Next is the minutes of full council meeting. So we need to approve the minutes of the full council meeting on the 8th of September 2025. All those in favour? Okay. Thank you. Next, minutes of standing committee meetings. We need to approve the minutes of the Service Provision Committee meeting on the 22nd of September 2025.
Do we not need to go through any other business?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry, I apologise. Yeah. So any other business from the full council meeting?
Do you want me to do it?
Yes.
So the first one, just to apologise on behalf of me and the assistant client, we haven't had a chance to look at, we were going to look to see if there was any kind of accountancy software that we could use that would be an improvement on the Realtas, but we haven't had any time yet, so we're just going to defer that to the time being. The second point is, I suppose thanks to Councillor Green for the £5,000 we've had returned by HVCAP. That, I know it was mentioned at the last meeting, but the money has appeared now, so that's gone into general reserves. And you will all be aware about Remembrance Sunday. We have got all the information now, so the information that's in the pack that came on the sheet, that is correct. So if you're down to go to one of those services, those times are correct, and that's when you should be at the service. The wreaths are up there. I don't know if people want to collect them today. The wreaths are there, that they're by specific ward, so make sure you get the right one. Don't be taking up the thongs if you know the thong, etc., etc. I don't know whether people want to take them today or not. Well, the option's there anyway. You can get them later if you wish. And the last bit is just about obviously we gave some money for the emergency lights here, and the work is ongoing, and they're hoping to be finished by the end of this month.
There's a thing about social media training as well.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, the final one. So that was approved, and Social Progress, with the Holme marketing company by the traffic lights. I don't know whether you've seen it. They're going to. We've got some dates that are likely to be in November or early December for some social media training.
Okay. Okay. Item 1, 5 minutes of standing committee meetings. We need to approve the minutes of the Service Provision Committee meeting held on the 22nd of September 2025. All those in favour? Anyone against? No. Thank you.
Chair, could I just read a writing from that? Sorry. This is a happy thing. This is a good thing. It's item 252632, the Coleraine Memorial Orchard. I'm so pleased to report that finally the planting's been done at Conley Library. I'd like to thank three people really. One is Rich, because there was a kerfuffle over how the plants could be paid for, and Rich exercised his ingenuity, and I think probably persuaded Towers to make sure that the plants were delivered in time to be put in last Friday. And then the nursery got paid. And the other two people I'd like to record with thanks to this are Jenny Lockwood and Malcolm Ellis from Friends of Conley Library, because they've kept the pressure on and kept pushing. So that is now practically finished.
Can I also add thanks to Barry Kellington, who designed in his own time garden, which I've seen pictures of. I haven't been down yet, but there's all of that from what I've seen. So it's a good job done by everybody and the volunteers who supported Barry. Okay. Right, I need to approve the minutes of the Finance and Management Committee meeting held on the 29th of September 2025.
Could I just make a point about this? It was a very confusing meeting, if you remember, because we had recorded votes all the way through. So Councillor Whitelaw's already pointed out one where I've made a mistake, so I don't know whether people had a chance to check that they were all okay. But if you could approve, if everybody else is okay with it, could you approve it with the amendment that Councillor Whitelaw identified?
It was just one around me requesting dispensation for Friends of Holme.
Yeah, that's just a mistake.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we approve those minutes, please? Thank you. Moving on, annual governance and accountability routine, AGAR 24-25.
Yeah, we actually had an exclusion on this. I was certain that I was right on this, but I wasn't. So on the report, it said something about that I needed to restate the prior year figure. To restate to me meant that I just had to carry it forward. But what the AGAR people said was, because we corrected this year's figure on the fixed asset register, I needed to go back and correct last year's carry-over figure. as well, so that you could compare them accurately against one another. So this was learning to me, and our internal auditor hadn't mentioned it either. So just assume it's not a terrible thing, but it's all a learning process, even 6 years on. So that's why we've got an exclusion. The second bit is we have to give inspection rights to the public. Now this used to be set in stone, we had to give 14 days, but it's no longer set in stone. You can give them as long as you want, but you have to decide how long it would be. So at this moment they've had 15 days. Nobody's ever asked, in 6 years, nobody has ever asked to see this. So my suggestion would be that we stop it tomorrow.
I propose what Rich says.
Partly because it takes up a lot of space on Gemma's notice board and it makes it look not quite as good. So are people okay with that? We take it down tomorrow.
Yeah, all those in favour? Anything else on that one, Rich?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Item 107, council budget 25-26 year to date, including earmarked reserves.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot to report. Things are, you know, in the last couple of years, things have gone disastrously wrong for various reasons, partly because of the civic asking for money. This year we're doing okay. The only one that's going to be a little bit problematic, as I've said before, is the staffing budget, where we're likely to be about £3,000 over at year end, and that was because of me calculating it wrong. But otherwise, everything's pretty much okay.
Anybody got any other actions they'd like to bring up regarding that? No? Okay. Schedule of payments.
Right, so the schedule of payments for September are just a note. They've already been paid, so there's not an awful lot we can do about them. I don't know if anybody's got anything they want to ask me about. Possibly not. The schedule of payments for October, this is, you don't normally have as many to approve as this one. Obviously, this time we have an awful lot of grant awards by the Finance Management Committee and a couple from Service Provision. There's a few others as well, like Councillor Blacker was talking about, to do with the planting at Holme Library, the 1491 to Noel Park Nurseries, for example, and then a banner for Zest for Print. I've made a mistake. I essentially repeated the same grant twice, which I have deleted from the schedule that Councillor Kirkby will initial at the end. But this is the first time that the Parish Council will have used a new kind of approach to paying money. You'll remember we had a visit from a VAT specialist, and they gave us various advice about VAT. But one of the things that she told us about, which the Finance Committee is trying to do, is that if the Finance Committee, instead of paying a grant to an organisation, actually pays for an object or pays for a service directly, that the Parish Council can then claim back the VAT. If we just give the money as a grant, the VAT is just gone because they can't claim it back. So on two items here, we're trying to claim back the VAT. One of them is the one that says Job Earnshaw and Brothers Limited, picnic benches, gift to Homebridge Cricket Club in lieu of grant. So if we'd given that as a grant to Homebridge Cricket Club, we've given them 1,300 quid. Because we're paying for it and delivering it to the cricket club, we can actually claim back the VAT. So we claim back 216 quid on that, so it's not to be sneezed at. And then the other one is underneath. I know it's rent-to-kill properties, which looks a bit confusing why we're paying rent-to-kill, but it's rent-to-kill who are paying who are replacing the steps at Upperthorne Village Hall. So in that case, the overall project would cost 3,640 quid. That's what we're paying out, but we're then claiming back 606 quid. So it's not to be sneezed at, really. See, that advice we got from Parkinson and Partners, I think it cost us 400 quid, but that's saved us £820 in one go, really. So I think that's quite good. So we're going to see how it goes. I mean, it does come with some problems. i.e., I'm in dialogue with the rent-a-kill people, obviously, because the problem is that we're paying for the works, but we don't own the building. So we're having a bit of a dialogue about how we make sure that I don't want to be chasing people because the steps aren't flat, for example. So we're just giving that a try. So just be aware that that's the process. So if you could, if people have got no more comments on that list, has anybody got anything they need to ask me or?
I think the Chancellor might want to word with you.
Yeah, maybe you can show her how it's done.
Could you get that approved, Chair?
Can we approve those payments? Thank you.
Can I just ask as well, can I just ask if it's created a lot of extra work for you, Rich?
No, not really. I mean, look, like I've just said, it's whether it now creates work. I mean, certainly the one with Homebridge Cricket Club, they were quite keen, and it was them who contacted Joe Burnshaw.
Yeah.
And it was quite easy, really. The other one's been a bit more problematic because it's not an object. So yeah,
Can I ask a subsidiary? Can you make a note on your timesheet so that you are really accurately aware of how much extra time?
Yeah, okay. Can I just make a point as well about this sheet? There's a few things on here that we need to pay immediately. One of the things that Councillor Blacker mentioned before about Holme Library with the planting, I had to insist that we were going to pay it tomorrow because they were refusing to give Barry the plants basically. So I had to insist that we pay it tomorrow. So if you're on the bank mandate, if you could authorise the payments tomorrow, that would be very helpful. It won't be early because obviously there's a huge long list, but it might be sort of midday-ish.
Okay. Anybody got any other points to raise on that? Okay. Chair's expenses.
Just two expenses. As I said, one thing is this governance advice from Hoey Amesco Associates Limited, and the other thing which I've not paid yet. I know we had emails flying backwards and forwards over the weekend about the £30 for the Home Valley Lions dinner. Did you go, Councillor? How was it?
Fun, especially at the end of the quiz, but yeah.
Good. So
You
yeah.
sound enthusiastic.
I'm glad it was that much fun.
So that's another one we've got to pay very quickly tomorrow because they've been chasing me for that 30 quid.
Okay.
Yep.
Matters reserved for full council now. So referrals to the monitoring officer. I don't believe there are any outstanding at the moment. Home for
I do believe there's two issues outstanding with the monitoring officer.
But we haven't heard any yet.
Right.
They haven't been reported to us.
Right. Well, there is.
Well, if there are, they would have reported them to us. It's whether they've met thresholds. We don't know whether things have met thresholds. This is facts.
I mean, if they haven't been reported to us, they're not happening.
we're not aware of them at the moment.
There might be time for that.
Yeah, they're not fast, are they? Let's be honest.
Okay. Home for City Hall review of lease. Councillor Bellamy.
Yeah, I can just give a quick update where we're at. Side letter is just about complete. In fact, I'd say it's on the very thing of being complete. I just need to add a couple of bits that I checked with Rich to make sure that we got dates and stuff right. The lease itself, we've been receiving some more advice from our solicitor regarding the options, because there's two options for a lease. One is whether it's a security of tenure for the tenant, which how that would work alongside the potential landlord break clause. And then there's another one, which is slightly different. That will have to come to full council in the future for full council to decide on which lease we go with, because, like I said, they are two different. I am at the moment trying to research what the actual full differences are on it, and I think it's to do with one's a little bit more secure for us, but the other one's a little bit more flexible towards the trust. So I'm working on that, and like I say, I'm trying to find out the differences. But we'll bring that to council obviously when Jen comes back, because I think we need Jen as well for that. But apart from that, I think everything's just running on really nicely.
Okay, we've got a few comments. Councillor Whitelaw?
It's a question really, and I don't know whether it's relevant, to be honest, at this point. I understand that there is a memorandum of understanding between the council and the civic trustees, but I don't know whether this has any bearing on the lease.
Is that side letter? That'll be the side letter. That is more or less complete, and I will get that to Rich as soon as I've finished it, and then you can obviously all look at it. And the trusts need to see it, the final little bit anyway.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson?
Are the trust aware of these options then?
For the lease, no, not yet.
Could there be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to send you an email of what the differences are, and then you can discuss that through the
The
trust?
trustees can make
Yeah, that would
their
be
head
useful.
together.
And to Steve as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send them both, and then you can discuss with the trust as well.
Councillor Colin?
I wonder if we need a lawyer in that meeting. I mean, a lease is a huge thing, and I wonder if we need somebody neutral, well, or on our side, our lawyer or whomever, to take us through the salient points.
Wouldn't you do that before you sign the lease anyway?
Well, no, but
The
first
solicitor-
we have to approve it in a full council meeting. It can't be signed till we've all
The
at
solicitor,
a full council meeting with 23 people, some of whom won't have read it, some of whom won't have understood it even if they've read it, much more likely.
the solicitors are involved, and she has offered to give us some more advice on what the differences are in the lease. The only reason why I was actually trying to research it first was because obviously if I can get as much info as possible, it's a little bit cheaper than the solicitor's bill. I think which we're going to just check to see how much
I haven't done that, but
extra that advice will cost. But like I say, I mean,
Probably worth it. It's because it's a very big decision.
yeah, once I've researched the complete differences, I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's massive differences between it.
do you, I mean, there isn't consider any further actions in respect to this. I mean, do you want to use that to make a decision about what you just said about this advice?
Well, I would think that when we actually come to looking at it, that's the point when we want to have somebody to guide us through it.
Yeah.
So if we can, whenever it's going to be on the full agenda, if somebody can be there, because I wouldn't know how good a lease is, you know, I do need somebody
I
I'd like to see it in writing.
You're going to need approval for the money before you.
Oh, right.
Before
Oh,
you,
I see, right, okay,
before
it's
you do
with,
it.
yes, yes, you check how much.
I can't remember what Alex said at the last meeting, but I'm pretty sure the trust is also making a decision as to their legal advice.
Yes,
Yeah.
So what we could end up with is a lot of bouncing around. So if we have a solicitor come to our meeting here and then there's some changes, then their solicitor would perhaps want to. Is that your understanding as well?
But that's normal. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
It's costly.
That's exactly what we want to happen, isn't it?
It may be that we could find perhaps the lowest cost option,
Yeah.
you know, to drive that through
Yeah.
so that everyone's happy in the
I
end.
think the implications and the responsibilities and things are so enormous. It's worth spending a bit of money now to be confident that in 10 years we're not suddenly hit with something we hadn't understood was an implication or...
We won't be in council then, Pat.
Councillor Green?
Yeah, I want to echo that. I wouldn't want us to be taking shortcuts on the legal process and what needs doing right.
Councillor Wilson?
I think in fairness, the solicitors, it's Ramsden, isn't it, are acting for us as on the parish council. So they're going to come forward with a document that's being prepared for us. So it should reflect what we want anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think, my feelings, I don't think as a council we've got much to worry about in terms of that being unfavourable to us as a parish council. It's more the other way, that the trustee might say,
They don't like it.
that doesn't look good for us.
Councillor Lyles?
When you take a lease, you're either happy with the lease agreement and you sign it, or you're not. It's quite simple, and we've had a lot of to-in and fro-in, haven't we, about what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. Then there's a side note to say, and it's a bit similar to like any legal document, even a will. You can write a will saying I'm leaving everything to Damien, and then a side note saying not really, I'm going to leave it to Mary. Do you know what I mean?
Don't
This-
fight about it.
but that's what the side note does. The side note says this is what we would like, and this is how we're going to make it work.
I still think we need a lawyer.
Absolutely, I'm not disagreeing with that.
I mean in our meeting.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but all I'm saying is that, you know, I sign a lot of leases, and if I'm not happy with something, I change it.
Can I just remind Councillor Lyles that before you leave your money to somebody being recorded?
No, it's alright.
I think
Yeah, the whole world knows you're leaving your money to Damien.
I am.
And we know Mary's going to challenge
it. So
you.
it doesn't matter.
I mean, at the moment, I'm sort of waiting for Jen to get back, because Jen's been, I mean, Richard's been brilliant, and he's actually answered any questions that I've thrown at him. Or we've got answers somehow between us. So I don't know whether you want to just wait until Jen gets back, and then we've got the lease more or less written, or and then look at it then.
Whatever, I'm happy for you to decide, but whatever is the simplest but full thing to do.
Right.
I mean, we're just trying to get it done before April the 1st, aren't we? It doesn't need to be immediate. We've got several meetings beforehand that we could use to conduct this process. It doesn't need to be done now. Maybe it's best for Jen to be back.
So we don't need to vote on anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the aim was for the next one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
My understanding is we've
Councillor.
We are virtually there.
Councillor Holmes?
I think this is the right point to raise it, but it was, I thought the lease was so near completion that I was going to propose something in addition to that, because if you refer back to the F&M meeting, Holme Valley, the Trust requested Holme Valley Parish Council to let them know our requirements. And we've never discussed our requirements from the civic. And so I think we should have a group that discusses our requirements, because I think the trust don't know what our requirements are. So is this an appropriate, are you near enough to doing the lease
The
to
lease is,
add an extra dimension?
the lease
Or
is
should we
more,
set up another group to look at that?
I probably wouldn't know. The lease is more or less ready, like I say. I'm
that's
now
what I
waiting
kept
for.
thinking, yeah.
I'm sort of I'm waiting for Jen to come back, to be honest.
I think we need to just wait till Jen comes back.
For the lease, yeah.
Yeah.
The side letter is,
No, but I think
I would
what
say,
Jenny,
is probably done.
Jenny is asking, do we need to have a further discussion before we sign the lease?
No,
Well, that's
sorry,
fine anyway. Here,
no, this is almost not to do with the lease, this is to do with the civic. And it's asking if the group that have been doing the
Oh, I'm
lease
with you.
want to open it up so that we can answer the question that they asked us in their report in F&M. What are our requirements generally, not just for the lease,
right,
but
so
for
not
things like physical space, finance. It's a very big, broad
Specifically
question.
asked us, we haven't answered.
Yeah.
Councillor
I'm
Ransby
going to
first.
sell it.
I mean, what Councillor Holmes is talking about is the spatial requirements
And more.
and any other issues that we wish to talk about, the visioning of the building, rather than
This item is a review of the lease, not.
Just the lease.
And it's asking the working party that's done the lease whether they want to take on that extra.
Would they
Job.
like to carry on working
Or-
when they finish the lease?
Do you want another separate group?
Can we decide that when we finish the lease?
Yeah, let's have a look at finishing the lease and getting that done before we add more work onto them. I think we'll review it when we review the lease, we'll then decide at that point.
We always said that the lease won't be ready until.
I know, given that the lease isn't going to be completed until April, I think the delay in answering the trust, the question they asked us, is a little bit, it's a long time till April to just answer a straightforward question.
Councillor Wilson.
I think there are two aspects to this. I mean, one is that I gather that the case working group had some discussion around what was wanted.
Don't remember that, no.
I thought that's where it originated.
Case, no case, no.
Okay, but the other aspect is the visioning document, which
Yeah.
is council document anyway. That's up to us as a council.
But we've not got that yet, but, yeah, when I
And I
spoke to,
think possibly the things you're talking about fall into that.
well, some of them do, that they, when I checked with Alex, what do you mean by what our requirements are? He did say, yes, your physical requirements, but also, do we require them to make a profit? Was the example he quoted. You know, so they want to know our requirements as a broad issue, and I don't think we've actually ever discussed that as a council.
I know, but I don't think that's anything to do with the lease. though.
Well, that's my question.
No, it's not
Do we
anything to
want
do with the lease.
another working party to look at, so that we can answer that question?
I think you're right. I think there are two separate things. I think
Yeah.
one is about how we as a council let the building to the trust, and the other is about how they then let, and I think, you know, look to
Meet our requirements.
let part of the building and give us occupancy within it. So they are two separate things. But I do think the timing is an important point here, because if we wait until the lease is all signed, that I don't think is going to be helpful in terms of the progress of the other part, the visioning and everything else. So my personal view is that we should have the two running side by side, which I think perhaps does mean that we might need a working group or something. There'll be a group, I assume, that will come under F&M, because F&M have responsibility for the city.
Okay.
So can we put this on the agenda for the next F&M meeting?
To set up a separate group.
Yeah. If that's what
To consider it.
to consider, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, item number 12, Kirklees local plan review. Councillor Blacker.
Thank you. I've not much to add to the notes of the meeting, but we're in the package, perhaps three things. The first one is that we have a really good relationship with the Kirklees Council officers that are carrying out the review of the public development plan. So your scrutiny is, I think, coming to our next meeting. I hope that you have something to report by then. The second thing I wanted to say is that we'll be consulting residents at the big community celebration. We'll do some consultation with residents there. It will only be fairly superficial because it's just fairly busy and manic at that event. And then the third thing is that I'm talking about the reference to Holme Valley Vision tomorrow night, and I'm hoping to try and perhaps recruit some more groups. I think we've got about 15 groups who are attending, so pretty good. And I just want to say thank you to those parish councillors who put in an awful lot of work around the reference group.
Councillor Whitehall.
Yeah, just a piece of information really around our outreaching work, if you like. One is that a number of us have been involved in the Great Collaboration Banter Sessions, which are run through the Place Standards Initiative in collaboration with NACL, Sport England, all sorts of groups around climate action and biodiversity and engagement, a whole big package. I'm doing a presentation a week on Wednesday, which is talking about the way in which we have approached and are approaching and working on the preparation for a local plan review, particularly in relation to climate action, etc. So that's just for your information. When I've done the PowerPoint things, I'll share it with you.
Anybody, any other points to raise? No? Thank you, Councillor. Okay. We've got a couple of grants to approve for Friends of Holme Library, so at this point I will speak, but I will not be voting due to being a trustee. Okay, the first one, Finance and Management Standing Committee approved to recommend the award of a grant of £15,000 to Friends of Holme Library. The grant application is in the pack. We need to consider approving the payment of £15,000 to Friends of Holme Library from EMR 332 Holme Library towards replacing roof lights and windows. So have we got any questions? Or do you
I'm just
want
going to move it.
Okay. Okay, all those in favour? Okay. Anybody against?
You can't vote.
Item 2 on Friends of Holme Library grants. The award would still leave the Friends around £7,000 short in the project to replace the windows and roof lights. Accordingly, they have asked if the Parish Council would allow them to put in the spend on the 24-25 Parish Council £15,000 running cost towards this development. The underspend was £2,502.78. So can we approve the use of the £2,502.78 underspend on from ENR 332 Holme Library towards replacing roof lights and windows?
I propose we approve it.
Okay, second. All those in favour? Okay. Anybody against? No, so that's carried. Okay. Social media policy, vexatious communications escalation procedure. Sharon, do you want
Made
to
you
do this?
pronounce that all together in one go. Some big words there. Last time we were here, there's a few people had raised with us as a parking team about members of the public who had perhaps been a bit mean-spirited in sort of direct contact with councillors. And one of the things that we discussed was the possibility of putting together a standalone social media policy that included a sort of escalation procedure for those repeat offenders, those people that were maybe not playing ball. So I've put a kind of briefing paper and a draft policy together. If everybody's happy with it, it can be adopted and we can put it in straight away. I am not going to attempt to retrofit it to any previous communication because how far back do you go? There's way too much of it. So it will be going forward. The other thing I would say is that I can only apply it to things that are put into our own feeds. I don't have any moderation ability within any community group, so it would only be covering social media comments that are things that have come out on our own feed. So if somebody grabs it and plunks it into a community group and then goes at it with the comments, and there's not anything I can do about it because I'm not a moderator for one of those sites, but it effectively gives me a framework to work within, an escalation to work within, and I would be effectively the moderator for our feeds, whereas previously we had no kind of guidance on that and no decision making around that.
Thank you, John. Has anybody any questions for Gemma? Councillor Ryder?
Yeah, can I just to clarify? So this is our Facebook page.
Yes, most of that's our main outlet for social media. Yeah.
And do people make comments that are not very nice comments on there?
Often, yeah.
Can you stop block the comments?
I can, yes. This is part of the escalation procedure. Some of it is it just fair criticism? In which case we take it on the chin, we take it as feedback. Is it being rude to other councillors? In which case we're probably going to do something about it. And that's what the escalation policy is, and there are clear levels to it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what you can actually do though to those.
I can block them and I can bar them from our side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of all you can do, really, isn't it?
Councillor Lyons?
Can I just ask then, if those people are associated via CICs or other schemes in the ballot, if they're the ones that are persecuting councillors on Facebook, what would we do about it as a councillor, or would we just ignore their behaviours because they're not part of our council group but do associate with us?
I mean, we can only block comments. Potentially, there is sort of a recording process within the escalation policy as well. So if the council wants to take any further action once it's been reported that I've blocked them or removed a comment or whatever that might be, then that would be up to council.
It's not really about the comments on Facebook though, it's about the then association with them. So for example, if I was a member of the public, but say for example, I can't really use the tech, I'll do something else. I don't know, the Friends of the Walking Group or something that Andy's involved in. And then I wanted to come to the big community event, but I spent most of my time slagging off Donna on Facebook. And they were coming to the big community event. She's not bothered. But if they were coming to the big community event and they had a table in there, flying the flag of the walking group, but were slagging members of this council off, what would we do as a council? That's my question.
That would be a matter for council. So there is a reporting process within it, and then it would be the same as anything else. Any further action once that's been reported.
Would need approval at full council.
It would need approval. Yeah.
Councillor Green.
No, I was just holding my head.
And the comments that I get
comment.
the comments I get through all day, that's right.
Councillor Russell, I think you had your hand.
I've forgotten now.
Right, okay, Councillor Whitelaw.
Can I remember what I was going to say? One of the recommendations, Gemma, is that you think a standalone social media conduct and escalation policy, drafted in the same style as the media and communications policy, drawing directly on an ACL. That seems to me to be a really good idea, and the sort of questions that Joe's just been asking will be addressed through what we put into that policy, I would imagine.
That's the general idea, is that it gives a procedure to it, so that you have got an escalation procedure, and sometimes that will involve bringing things to council.
Yeah, so you could decide that under certain circumstances, for example, if you were putting out something simply as a piece of information, you don't want any comments on it, you're just putting it out for information, that you switch comments off. That could be one of the strategies that we choose to employ in certain circumstances.
I am reluctant to do that in the
Yes, I know
main,
you are.
because I think that, well, it kills your reach a little bit as well. So the more, and people tag each other into things so that they've seen them and things like that. So there is that. Anything to do with elections, I do that anyway, because that's when things get a little bit spicy sometimes.
I mean, I think...
Yes, I have remembered. Pages 88 and 89 of our agenda, it's actually details the moderation and escalation procedure. I don't think in the 5 steps, monitor, advise, remove, block, legal or police referral. It is a quite clear stages of what to do. I don't think it covers what Councillor Lyons is saying about if it's, by association, if it were the walking group rather than the individual posting. But I think somewhere in there is presumably the facility to report these things to council so that we can make our decision.
Yeah, and just under that table it says that stages 3 to 5 or something like that. And I would say that they sort of report it in a legal sense. I don't think we've hit that threshold yet.
So I think it's covered. I think it's covered in the policy that we've been presented with.
Thank you. Councillor Colin?
No.
Okay. Anybody any other comments? So I guess the question is, do we want to approve the social media policy that John's put forward?
I suppose we do.
Yeah. All those in favour? Good job. Anyone against? Any abstains? No? Okay. Thank you, Gemma. Moving on, democracy-friendly schools. Councillor Black.
Yes, we had one that I've had one this year with of the working group, but unfortunately only 3 of us there, so I'm trying to organise another meeting with Michelle Ross, who's the Kirklees officer involved. We are requesting here that we have very modest provision of funding for £200 for materials as we continue to develop this project.
Can I just
So
ask
I'd
a
like to
question?
propose that
Councillor Holme?
Does Michelle have all the items though? That, you know, because she did give me loads before. You know,
yeah, she does. Yeah, she obviously she has her own. Yeah, obviously she has her own items. But one of the decisions that we made, or suggestions really, that we made in that first meeting, was that this could be a continuing project, and we could continue the relationship with schools, and they'll be on after they've got the award. So I think we're just thinking things about mostly print stuff, about some more certificates or something like that. So it's a very very modest.
no, I just wondered because I'm like I said.
Yeah, she does have a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Where would the money come from? I was, you know,
Well, suggestion is from general reserves.
yeah, that's fine.
Can I propose that we do that? Thank you.
All those in favour?
Thank
Anyone
you.
against? Okay, carried. This will get interesting. Holme Town Centre Works, updates and oversight. So item 1, an outcome of the last council meeting was to add a standing agenda item titled Holme Town Centre Works, updates and oversight to ensure continued scrutiny. Council agrees to share a PowerPoint presentation from Kirklees Council regarding communication and engagement, which is in the pack. So we'll take item 1 to begin with. Has anybody got any comments they would like to make on that proposal, or on the information that Council agrees to share from Kirklees Council? Councillor Bellamy?
Not on what Council Greaves was sharing, I've seen that before, but I think we also said that Councillor Whitelaw and Councillor Randall were going to give the updates from Kirklees.
Yeah, that's item 2. Oh, I'll move on to that one.
Oh, right, okay.
If that's okay.
Councillor Whitelaw
Can I
worked
just
with
ask?
it.
Yeah.
I mean, Councillor Greaves has helpfully sort of passed this on. Charles, did you have any views about it? Were you just literally handing it over, or do you think it's useful? Or
so it came from Marcus Ball and David Wildman. After I had a conversation with David Shepherd, who's the director for EJ. Personally, no, I think the communication plan is there. I think some of the issues are about short notice changes. I also think perhaps some of the scheduling, but that's long range scheduling. So like the current debacle about Holgate probably is too far advanced along the way now for anything to be done without considerable expense. So the communications plan was signed off in August. I think it might well help, but there's some more fundamental issues, and I think maybe that's the bit where it's not my ward, it's not my. Personally, I would have done things vastly different, but it's not my ward, and it's not my. Not really for me to shove my snout into, if you like. I think to do so, all I would do is probably stir up a difficult situation even more. So no, it was just a case of sharing that plan just to make sure everybody knows what the intended communication arrangements are. But the more fundamental stuff, I think, is perhaps the real issues.
Councillor Wilder, would you want to give us your update at this point as well? Sorry, Councillor Ramsby first.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed reading this in the bit that starts headline, what are we trying to achieve? And they write about timely communication engagement with all stakeholders. And the one stakeholder that's lacking is this elected council.
Exactly, my point, yes.
Which is why I put it on.
Which I think is a complaint that we have made to Kirklees over the past 2 years, that we are consistently ignored, and yet we are an elected council. And I think that Kirklees should really be taking the view of this council on board. And I think we should be telling them that it's not right.
I think that's covered in the next item. Councillor Brooke?
From my perspective, like you, obviously being elected as a ward councillor, the access plan had already started there. This engagement plan is August 2025. The project has been running just about 12 months at that stage there, and with much clashing of heads and a stage complaint from myself, this was finally produced. So we're 12 months in before we even get a plan together, and he talks about early engagement, he talks about how the key stakeholders will be informed, but we're 12 months into a project now, and we're so far down that funnel, as previously mentioned, that unfortunately I don't think anything's going to rescue Holgate and give them the advance notice that they require as a business to run pre-orders and to deal with their customers. In respect of Councillor Ransby's comments, thoroughly support those comments. We have been kept out of the loop, and other groups have been kept within the loop and spoken to Isabel Whitworth and the likes of other people who have had their boots on the ground. But let me go a stage further with that one there. I've been kept out of this loop also, hence why I've got a stage 3 complaint. Unfortunately, I've had my site meetings refused, any information refused, and even the engagement plan there has fallen at the first hurdle, as 2 of the first documents that came out weren't passed the ward councils first. They went straight out onto Yorkshire Live, unfortunately they were. So, I fully support Councillor Ransby in the fact that this elected group of people here should be informed and kept abreast of things so that we can assist the business holders on first, so they don't go under, or we don't lose any more of them.
Can I just add to that? That is why that was in the motion last month, that it needed to be Kirklees, but it got watered down. I just want to make that point.
Okay. Councillor Wilder, you were going to give us an update on the...
Well, I think we've sort of moved on a little bit just to continue with the thread that we're talking about at the moment. I've received just the same information that you received, Damien. You haven't been prevented from having this information. Now maybe that's because maybe there isn't enough information coming out, but you haven't been singled out and left in the dark, I would say. And just coming back to what other people have been saying as well, I think we need to be thinking about what is important here. And to me, what's important is we get this work completed and we get it work in a timely way and support the business community. And what we need to be doing is thinking about how can we help the business community, and lots of things that we can talk about is positivity on social media, talking up Holmfirth instead of talking it down, promoting people to shop locally. I don't think the issue should be about the parish council in this particular thing where we are at this moment. I don't think this is about communication between council and the parish council. I think personally that that is for another day. That will always come up again. I think we need to bear in mind that Kirklees officers and CR Reynolds have communicated with residents and with the businesses much more with this scheme than any other scheme that's being carried out at the moment in Kirklees. And I feel like we need to also remember that this is not the only road scheme that is being carried out in Kirklees at the moment. I do think things have improved. I'm not saying that
everything has been great all the way through. But I do think that we have actually turned a corner. We now have regular meetings. We got the PLO who is contacting with the business community. Kirklees officers and the PLO meet on a Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The businesses have had access to the senior teams in Kirklees. Also to Paul Davis has been very supportive, as have all three ward councillors as well. And I have to say that Moses Crook has worked tirelessly to keep the work going, and he has worked hard to get an agreement to get the resurfacing of Victoria Street and Towngate and Huddersfield Road resurfaced, and also that most of this work will occur at night time rather than in the day. There are lots of people that are working very hard and very conscientiously to make this work, and I think the role of the Parish Council is to be helping this to make it a success and as soon as possible for the benefit of everybody.
Thank you. Councillor Brook.
Yeah, poppycock is what I said to that. Unfortunately, I've been kept out of the loop for one reason, because the portfolio holder is Moses Crook for this case today. There's been more information received. The thing to talk about the business being identified, you must be on a different business group than I'm on, because the businesses out there are absolutely screaming out for assistance every time they put up. There's been recently a survey put out online about how they're not getting engaged with. All the things you're saying aren't replicates about what the businesses are saying. The businesses are saying that they're struggling and they're facing potential closures and that on Holgate. I appreciate that we don't talk them further down, we mustn't talk them further down, but people can experience it with their own eyes, and when they can't park, or it's chaotic, or there's traffic out of every major road on there, we're struggling, we're up against it. And it's a bit late in the day now to be pulling this out of the hat and saying that we can just communicate, and Isabel can go around to the shops and knock on the door. The last letter she dropped off, it had a handwritten bit at the bottom where there'd been a change that morning. Changes the same day. These businesses have got to buy stock, they've got to fill freezers, they've got to expect footfall, they've got to organise staff, they've got overheads to run. I appreciate what you're saying, but that's not true.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Lyles.
I would just say opinion. That's opinion.
Absolutely is not opinion. Would you like us to project the comments on the wall so you can see them? Because clearly,
I'm entitled to my opinion.
and you absolutely are, and I absolutely cannot applaud you enough for holding the "it is fine" flag, but clearly I just cannot even express how frustrating it is when businesses are losing tens of thousands of pounds a week in revenue. They need to make a formal complaint. They've started a petition, they've put the petition on social media. Every time Moses says something, they absolutely have nothing nice to say, and even the MP who's blocked me has put something on social media this weekend. Everybody said to him, "Don't be worrying about a rave in the woods, Mr Davis, worry about the fact that you can't get your car through Home Firth, you can't park, you can't buy anything." Like these people in Home Firth are the people that, are helping keep local businesses going. I went to Home Firth the other day, I had a coffee and a cake, I had to park miles away, which is fine because I'm getting the steps in, but a lot of people aren't, though, are they? And closing Holgate, originally they said it was going to be for 3 days, it's going to end up being 12, right before Christmas. It's just not acceptable, really, and what the businesses need to do in Home Firth, and the Labour group and the business group of Home Firth need to tell them to put a formal complaint in. A petition's not going to do anything, they need to make a formal complaint, it needs to go to the Ombudsman, because the way that they've been treated in this village, in the town, is disgusting. They've been given no deadlines, they can't claim on the business insurance because they've got no deadlines. They move things at the drop of a hat. I've seen what they've said about Moses Crook on those business groups, and I would be handing my hat in if people thought that about me.
Thank you, Councillor Lyles. Councillor Holmes.
I think that there has been a lot of complaint, and there has been a lot of frustration that the communication has definitely not been as good as we liked it to have been. I do think it's turning a corner and it is improving. I think the regular updates at the library, I think there's a lot of things that are helping now. And I think putting in a formal complaint is not good. We've got to think what will really help the businesses. Is
Putting a formal complaint.
We've already put in complaints. The complaints have been going through regularly. Complaining now at this point isn't going to help. So I have spoken to local businesses and said what will really practically help you, what help do you want from the parish council? And they said two things. Some of the things Jane has already said: shop locally, support us. I know that's obvious, but a lot of people, a lot of us, have been choosing to shop elsewhere. The local shops deserve our support. Secondly, the second thing they said was that this is a request directly from them that would be a practical help. Could we think about giving them a small pot of money to make the types of videos that were so successful early in the year that encourage people to shop locally? And they reckon that the footfall from those videos that went out regularly on social media, showing how fun and enjoyable and satisfying it was to shop locally, did actually make a difference. They had more customers when those videos had gone out. So they were asking me, how do they proceed to ask for a small pot of money so that we can really practically support the local businesses?
Conversation from Kirk Place.
If we're talking about practical help, I mean, how about things like doing the work overnight on a holiday?
That's on
How
my
about
suggestions.
accelerating the programme so that it's not 3 weeks, it's more like a week. Now that's some practical things. Because I think what's happening now is, and I know this from my own family, it's easier to get in the car and go to Fox Valley than it is to shop in
But not good for our businesses.
There's no you can get in.
Councillor Holmes.
Well, I think some of the things that you suggested, like working through the night, they are in that scheme of work. That's what they are trying to do. They are trying to make it work as good as fast and as quickly as they possibly can. That's in hand. And us complaining, and I do see reasons why we want to complain, but we've got to think past those complaints and think, how can we help? So my question is, can we set up a pot of money to help them? And how do they proceed? If they want to make a grant application, how would they actually go about doing that?
Councillor Miles.
So it's been suggested on the business group that has been refused quite a lot by Kirklees Council, and it is Kirklees Council's mess, and it is Kirklees' portfolio of works, and it is Kirklees' problem to manage.
Town.
I get that, but then remember that when you're spulling the narrative of absolute utter dross, right? That at the end of the day, they've asked for free parking. And they've said it lots of times, Sarah's on the group, all we need is free parking, 2 hours of free parking, encourage people to come back to Holme Firth, and all that, and it's been refused.
Well, we can ask for those things from the Kirklees Council, but we can't determine that, we can only ask that. Well, what we can do is create and give a small pot of money to help them promote shopping locally. So, yeah, I would like to have more influence over Kirklees Council, but let's think about what we can do.
Councillor Brooke.
Jenny, we've asked and we've better asked for free
I know we
parking,
have.
and we've asked for other things
Keep
as well,
asking.
which is yes, and keep getting told no. Unfortunately, I applaud your enthusiasm for it, but unfortunately, it's falling flat on its faces, and the businesses are falling flat on their faces. I'm not quite sure the council wants to consider giving money to the businesses to support the mess that Kirklees has made. Perhaps that's something for Kirklees to sort out. But again, it's something they won't consider recompensing the businesses.
But we can consider.
Well, why should
Can I interrupt at this point? Okay. So, what we're doing here is rightly or wrongly, and I believe that the work has been a mess, we can all see that up to this point, okay? But I think we've got to concentrate on things that we can achieve. And quite frankly, Kirklees, whoever's in charge of Kirklees, have done what they've done up to now. We can't change what's happened. We can only move forward in the best way possible, and that's for us as councils to decide what that way is. I absolutely get that, but I think constantly lamenting the way that Kirklees have run the project up to now is not going to do anybody any good. All we want is to get some positive way forward. Now, I've heard a number of different comments from different people believing what the businesses want. and they're different things. So I guess what I'm asking for is what actually do we know what the businesses, how we can best support them. Councillor Greaves. No, Green, sorry.
Well, I take it on the word that Jenny spoke to businesses and they have asked for this video,
Yeah.
right? I don't think, and we'll do some further consultation, but if we are able to fund that, I don't see why we shouldn't. I think the fact that we think Kirklees should do it, and why should we do it if they're not doing it, is not an argument. If we generally want to support those businesses, then we have to make our own decision and accept that we can't rely on Kirklees for lots of different things. So the question would be, for me, in relation to that, would be to Rich, can we do that kind of funding? And secondly, if we can, do we want to do it?
I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I suppose it depends how we go about doing it. I mean, we can't give money to profit-making organisations or businesses. That's part of our grants process. Is about community groups, non-profit. So we're in a slightly tricky position in that. I mean, you could use the kind of tourism promotion. That's a power that the parish council does have. We could use it to promote tourism because that's obviously a way of bringing people in and making money for businesses. We just need to be a bit careful about how we do it.
Councillor Lyons?
So, being on the business group and watching what goes on all the time on the WhatsApp group and talking to some business owners in Holme Firth, because obviously there's been quite a few businesses in Holme Firth that have changed ownership in the last couple of months alone because of this situation. They have asked in the group, and many times have asked, for parking. So instead of doing videos, right, why can't we just do their basic ask of paying for the parking? Why can't we do that? Because if we gave 2 hours free parking, right, in a period of time from now till Christmas, or from November the 1st till Christmas, or from when the roadworks are supposed to pendingly finish to Christmas, then that way people could come and do their Christmas shopping in November.
It's a lot of money. I mean, we've paid for 6 parking bays with the toilets, and that's cost us hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a week.
Yeah, it's not. It's a great idea, but it will cost hundreds of times more than a pot to make a promotional video.
Councillor Ransby.
Can I suggest that the council, in conjunction with the business group, produces a tourism video to go out? So it's our video working with the council, with the business groups.
Councillor Brooke.
The difficulty with producing a video, we did this before, and the ward councillors like myself, Jane and Moses, chipped some money into that one there, and it was for the most affected businesses, which were around sort of ground zero, the piling site, which is dragging on some significantly. And so we provided some money for that one there, and it did have some reasonable responses for them there, but the situation is that we can't cover all the businesses in Holme Firth, and on the balance of fairness, and I agree that a general tourist video might be something you could consider, but we do need to provide something tangible for people to visit Holme Firth for. Parking is one of those things, and whilst I understand that it might not be possible, my line for this council would be, and back to Councillor Rand before, we're not getting the engagement we require, that we could do with a strongly worded letter to Kirklees saying that we're aware of the situation. We haven't been consulted as a parish council throughout this project. I haven't taken one briefing in this place from Kirklees in the whole time there. So if we could ask them to come and speak to us about it, and maybe we could have a meeting, even if it's an extraneous meeting there, to discuss the situation and perhaps then work out how we can assist them to assist the businesses. Right now, all we're doing is we're guessing what people need and what people want.
It's not. Councillor Ryler.
Just to say that not all businesses feel the same. There's obviously a spectrum of views across Kirklees. What's on the WhatsApp? I'm also on the WhatsApp, and I would not describe, I would not agree with what Damien and Joe are saying, particularly about Moses. There have been, without naming any names, there are other people who have been criticised on there as well. I think some of the ideas that people have are good. I don't have any issue with that. But I think the reality is we need to get the scheme done, and that's why that's why holidays will be closed this week. But when it is closed, then for the first section, I'm not quite sure how many days it is, pedestrians will still be able to get through. It's when the piling works begin. That's when it'll be closed off for pedestrians as well. I spoke to one of the team last Tuesday, and he was saying that when the piling work is being done with that big machine there, then for health and safety, then they can't allow anybody to be going across this path. They would have to they would have to stop it. They'd have to turn the engine off in order to let people through. So they are, they're doing it for sort of health and safety means. And if you would like to go and talk to these people, talk to Kirklees officers and talk to CR Reynolds, then as far as I know, there's a session tomorrow morning, and you can get information, further information from them. But in my mind, the best thing is to get this work done. Get the resurfacing of the roads, get the piling work completed, and then holidays will be open, and then there will be just then the car park, and that car park work can be taking place while all the shops can be open and the roads open as well. It's quite straightforward at the moment. I drive through Holme every day, and there aren't major hold-ups at the moment.
You must come through at different times of the day.
I come down around at all times. Holme is always a busy place. Well before all these roadworks started. But now that the three-way traffic lights are gone, then the traffic flow is much better now.
Councillor Holmes.
I think there is going to remain some disagreement, but I think we should move on. I think it's legitimate that we can complain to Kirklees, and we can also ask for free parking, but I also want to propose that we try to get a small fund to help businesses in the way that some of them have said that they would like. So that's my proposal.
Councillor Wilson.
I think at the moment I'd be ashamed to actually ask people to come to Holme unless it's something positive. I would be absolutely ashamed to ask
That's the purpose of the video.
But what we offer.
There's lots of really good shops, really good businesses that need our support.
You can't get to.
No, I shop here every day. There are some really excellent shops. The video that they made in the summer was lovely. It was people going buying a present, going to the florist, going and having a coffee. There is a lot that's really excellent about Holme now, and it's going to be even better if we keep supporting it. And if we give up on it, then that's our fault. We've got to stop putting any negative comments like there's nothing to come to Holme for, or what stop people coming. The shoppers, the businesses say we've got to encourage shoppers.
I go through Holme regularly in the car, on buses and walking, and I don't think there has been. There are massive hold-ups. I mean, there are, as Jay said, there are hold-ups all the time in Holme. The shops seem quite busy, and I understand from the camera that counts footfall, the footfall is actually increased this year from what it was last year. Now we've got a proposal on the table which is to do something positive, and I would like to second Councillor Holmes' suggestion that we produce a video promoting Home Firth, and there are brilliant shops. It's the shops haven't gone away; they're still there. So promote tourism, promote the shops. We don't need to promote particular shops. We just need to promote shopping in Home Firth and the other things that
Councillor
people here.
Right. So it seems that proposal's now been seconded. I want to amend it because I think that it just does not need to be on Perth. If it's going to be something about tourism, then it needs to cover the whole of the Holme Valley Parish area, so it needs to cover Holme as well. Sorry, but you can't just throw money at the Home Firth businesses if you're not going to include Holmes.
Well, we can.
Holme's having problems as well because they've got to get most of their deliveries through from this side. There ain't any problems. Oh, well, obviously not. But so I'd like to amend if that proposal's going to go through, I want it amended that it includes the whole of the parish area.
I guess, right, so we've got a number of proposals on the table, one of which is to produce a video, one of which is to find money to pay for parking, but how realistic that is, I'm not sure, because I don't think unless we've got a cost from Kirklees as to what it would cost to support that scheme, then can we ask the question anyway? There's also a proposal as to whether or not we complain to Kirklees about what's happened so far, and also how we can address the situation moving forward. I guess my only comment on a video is how quickly could one be produced, and by the time it's produced and out there, is that actually going to be effective? Because, you know, we're on the 20th of October now. I don't know who's going to produce this video.
Gemma made ours. How long did that take?
Oh gosh, ages. I would expect though,
Redbank said they could do it.
I couldn't do something like that, but what I could suggest is Social Progress gave me some quotes on making videos when I was looking at doing the training, because I was interested to see how much a one-off would do, which I can't remember completely off the top of my head, but I do still have the paperwork on it. I think it was £200 or £300 for a video, which is not a lot.
We're not into thousands then.
But not into thousands, but if you wanted to do a series,
What about
then
the time?
I want to make a couple
timing
of comments, please, Councillor Colin. I've just been invited to speak by the Chair. A couple of comments. The first one is, we can grumble till the cows come home, but we're not going to speed the work up particularly. And the best thing for the town is when it's finished. And putting a complaint in that actually delays matters isn't going to help that great deal. And yes, we can complain to Kirklees Council, we can demand money from them, but if like things have been up to now, that's not going to make any difference. So I think the positives of trying to do something for the traders is a great idea. Before I came out tonight, I was looking on the Holme Valley FaceTime, and the jewellery shop on Holgate put out a very engaging video about how to access their shop during the road closure. And that's the kind of thing to be encouraging, so that we're looking positive in getting things done. I know there are massive issues, I'm not naive, but as a council, I think we ought to be realistic about what we can do and where we're barking up the wrong tree. And that's my case.
Okay, so have we got a proposal on video and amount to be spent? Is anybody proposing that? And I guess, Richard, based on that, where would the money come from?
Point of
We need
information,
to discuss the amendment before we discuss it.
just as a point of information, there is money in the tourism EMR at the moment.
Okay, Councillor Greaves.
Actually, I think, whilst I take the general point about Holme Valley Parish Council is here to serve all the communities rather than just one, in this particular aspect, and this particular matter rather, Holme Business Association have already produced a number of videos themselves with traders to promote Holme. I'm just looking at the Christmas one is already out there. So I think the need to fund something extra doesn't exist, but maybe we just need to be thinking that perhaps new mill traders might be the ones who might want a helping hand. But I think for now maybe the focus really does need to be on Home Firth, but we need to have our eyes open to needs elsewhere. To me, New Mill is forever the forgotten corner of the valley. And I would probably argue the point that Holme has got quite a few voices that speak up for it, but Home Firth is important, but it isn't everything. But in this particular regard, with the issues going on, I think that's the bit where the focus needs to be right now.
Okay. Councillor Green.
I was going to ask Damien, did you say you've helped fund this previous video? And what
The Ward
cost
Council,
of
sorry.
that? Yeah, right. The Ward Councillors gave a small donation towards some videos being made by a group. What was it? Is it Redback or something? Potentially.
I was going to say Redback, a very good at making videos.
They're the one that usually put the signs around Holme Firth with the ducks and stuff like that. Now they did the whole marketing and remarketing of Holme Firth. So it might be, if we are going to go down this road, it might be worth getting some prices from them. But I guess if we are going to commit to that tonight, we need to really set a ceiling on the price, and if we're going to crack on with it, because we can't afford to wait from meeting to meeting.
Yeah.
So I think if we're going to look at a proposal for that one there, we need to set an amount which will more than cover that one there, but mindful not to obviously to advertise that to the individual, but we are obviously not looking to spend right up to budget.
Okay.
How much is in the amount reserved?
There's 4,961, and there's some money going out Heritage Week.
600.
600. So there's about 4,000 and change.
Councillor Wiles.
And I suggest that we give them a ceiling of £2,000 to do some videos on the run up to Christmas and where after that.
I'll take that as a proposal and I'll second it. So £2,000 to support the
We
business.
just need to be careful about who we give the money to. We can't give the money to a business. This is the problem.
I'll give them to a tourism grant, won't we, which they'll have to.
I mean, they can kind of set themselves up as like an informal group. Does business together? Is no business
That's
together?
all business together.
Well, more businesses together then. It's us doing the video. Not this association.
Councillor Wiles. And then Councillor.
There are several videos, as people have already said, that have been made by businesses. Are we talking about making a video here which is a parish council video?
Okay.
And money for a parish council video to support businesses and business enterprise, rather than we're giving money to a group of business people in order to. So like the Gifts Joe, the woman who, you know, from, can't remember her name, on the gift shop on, I can't remember her name. Anyway, she's done 2 cracking videos walking around the town. But that's, you know, that's a business video. I think this is a different proposition altogether. This is about promoting our engagement with our business community and supporting them, which I absolutely wholeheartedly support, particularly in these circumstances. Can I move on to the things that I put on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me. I'm going to make a statement here. Speaking truth to power is a debating tactic which aims to exert influence by providing a reasoned argument. In addressing all my parish council colleagues here, I'm hoping to do just that. This is not a party political ploy, nor do I speak here on behalf of anyone on this room, simply myself. In sending the email to you all on the 11th of October, I had 2 motives. One, to provide the HBT updates, which I was mandated to do by full council, and on which I passed no comment. And secondly, to alert all the councillors on the escalation of concern and distress being expressed by some business owners in that forum, particularly those on Holgate. I asked for a discussion. I made it clear that other councillors may take a very different view from me on appropriate courses for action. I'm very aware of my own confirmation bias It's something I try hard to avoid, as do others. That is critical. My sole role here is to act in the interests of my constituents. So I take the view that as a council it is entirely appropriate for us collectively to express our concern for our constituents, businesses in this instance, and to urge relevant parties to review the actions proposed in light of the concerns being expressed most passionately. I do not expect people here to agree or disagree with me on this, or on any other matters for that matter. But what I do expect is the use of discussion based on reasoned, civil and appropriate arguments and evidence in every instance. That is my job as a councillor, and one which absolutely aligns with the code of conduct to which I signed up. So in respect of the two items that I raised, I should like to propose that the second, the communication strategy, has been superseded by the provision of the PowerPoint from Kirklees by Councillor Greaves. This was not available at the time of my writing. The document provides exactly the sort of communication strategy necessary, and therefore, assuming these are being delivered and stakeholders and the wider community are being made aware of them, I still see no reason to discuss this matter further. Others might disagree. As to my first request, to send a support statement to relevant Kirklees people of influence, I think I've already made my case. It's about supporting and saying, we support you. That's the argument that I'm trying to make. Again, others may disagree, but thank you very much for listening.
Councillor Lars.
But can I just say that I agree with that, Sarah, because that has been the whole point all the way through, that we wanted to make a statement to the council at Kirklees to say that we weren't being listened to, which is what Stephen Ransby said earlier on. And I don't think anybody is against that, that once again we do need to push this forward with Kirklees. So I do agree with that statement. I'm not saying, that's all I want to say. I agree with that.
So we're two motions on the table really. One is communication with Kirklees, and the other one is producing a video. I'm not 100% clear. You put a proposal forward, Councillor Lyles, to spend money, but I wasn't clear whether or not that was for Holme Valley Parish Council video supporting Home First, or whether or not it was.
Yes, it's a Parish Council video.
Right. Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favour?
Can I just ask for some clarification? Is this just for Home Firth though, or is it for the Holme Valley Parish area?
Well, it can be for whatever you deem fit, because we've got a budget, haven't we? So you can do a few videos, not bothered.
No, we need to agree what we're doing with this one in time for Christmas. We can't be doing.
On the amendment.
So the
We need to
amendment
take the
was
amendment first.
For it to cover the whole of the
to
Holme
cover the
Valley
whole
Parish
valley,
area.
but initially concentrating on Home First because they're the ones facing the biggest problem right at this moment in time. What we can-
Concentrating on the whole of the Holme Valley Parish area.
The amendment, that's the amendment. We have to vote on.
Vote on the amendment.
So
Okay.
you can vote on the amendment. It won't
So the amendment is to include the whole of the Holme Valley
Parish area.
parish
I
area
don't mean the all of it. I don't mean you can
on the video.
Yeah.
All those in favour? All those against?
Hang on.
No, go on. Put your hand up again.
Let Rich
People have put their hands down since.
Yeah, so all those four.
Yes.
All those four. Yes.
The amendment, isn't it? With those.
Right, sorry.
This is
To
for the
include
whole of the
the whole
Holme
valley.
Valley. Yeah,
Hand up.
parish area. I don't mean the whole of the Holme
Yes,
Valley.
we know.
make that now, anybody do?
Oh, is that
No
me?
problem with that. I think one hand
Okay,
go back
right,
down.
All those against that? I'm just concentrating on Home First,
This
I'm
is
guessing.
concentrated, focusing on Home Firth in this instance.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Abstentions?
Any abstentions?
4.
Okay.
So the amendment is carried.
Pass Yeah, okay. Okay, the second proposal on the table is to produce a letter to Kirklees. Can I put an amendment on the table? So we suggested, can I do this or not?
I'm just thinking, do we just vote on an amendment?
No, we voted on an amendment.
We need to vote on the film.
We need to vote. So we
Oh, right, okay.
You vote on money.
Okay, so then can we vote on spending up to £2,000 of the tourism budget and producing the video that we just voted on?
Yeah.
Okay. That's Carol.
Can I just ask how we're going to proceed with that? Do we have a working group, or what happens now? Now that we've agreed to it, how do we make it
I thought we
progress?
said we were just going to contact Redback or something and do something.
And who's going to contact them? Gemma.
Gemma's not here next
Gemma's
week.
got a lot on.
Councillor Ransby.
Well, I was going to ask if the assistant clerk was going to do it, but I mean, if it's just a case of a quick visit or a phone call.
Well, if she's not here, she can't do that.
No,
I'm here
we-
this week, but
I mean,
have got
can
a
go
lot
and-
to get through.
I can go and
Friday.
see the two
Doesn't it mean that
possible
someone's
companies
instructed
tomorrow.
to be doing something?
Councillor Ransby is offering to do some work.
I
You're not
will
listening.
visit the two companies tomorrow, Redback and Social Mobility. And I'll
Okay.
take the
Progress.
process.
Social progress.
Social progress.
Okay.
Very good idea, I second that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I also suggest, because there are other initiatives happening out there by the businesses, and I think if we can try and link in with those to some extent, you know, we're not duplicating efforts.
No.
Okay. So do we need to vote on that? On Councillor Ransby's proposal to do some work?
There's a lot about your team, don't you know, Steve?
So the second matter on the table is whether or not we can use a letter to Kirklees. Can I suggest, as an amendment to what we're going to do, that we do a letter for Kirklees saying we've been disappointed in what's happened so far. There's a communication plan will come out which, if acted upon, looks as if it may be the way forward. However, we would like to be kept informed. Okay. Can I also ask that that letter includes a suggestion to Kirklees that they consider some form of free parking in Holme on the night of Christmas?
Should that be in the same letter? I agree with everything you're saying, I just wonder if it's two letters. I don't know.
If we do it as two letters all on, I'm not bothered with that. Councillor Brooke?
Just on that one, yeah, I agree with that. I think it should all be in one letter anyway, because when I'm sending two letters, it's on the same topic, isn't it? So I'd go for one letter. The council car park, or the old council office car park, was given as a short-term car park last Christmas for the businesses. Now, it was paid for by Kirklees, and it wasn't cheap, to be honest with you, to get the order to do it on that one there. It's something they did last year, so we could remind them in the letter that they have previously done this as part of the scheme for the businesses which are most affected by obviously the main car park being brought down. So it's been done before, we asked them to do it again.
Councillor Graves?
Yeah, so we've had the issues about the working relationships between Kirklees and town and parishes, and about what the protocols are to be and whatnot. We don't have anything, and I don't think we will do until the community governance review's concluded. But one of the suggestions that's been made at various points has been that the parish and town councils should be treated, if you like, in the same way that a ward councillor is. And so the ask may be for a nominated named representative for Holme Valley Parish Council to attend the ward councillor briefings specifically. Well, that's going to have to be somebody who, number one, is going to be attending, and number two, will be sharing the information with the parish and, well, whoever they think is appropriate to do so. But that's perhaps one way forward. I don't think they're going to be looking at setting up anything dedicated for Holme Parish Council. So you've got to decide, perhaps, do you want to ask to be treated like a ward councillor? Do you want to be asked to be treated like a business group, or any other community group? And I think if you you're asking for either of the latter, they're just going to say, check the communications when they come out. So if you want an earlier, closer involvement, it's the, can we have somebody in the ward council briefings representing Holme Valley Parish Council? We do have 2 members, but they're not there to represent Holme Valley Parish Council, they're there to represent their Kirklees Council ward constituents, not this parish council.
Okay, Councillor Brooke.
There hasn't been any ward council updates and meetings. There was one recently which was done at very short notice at your request, Jane, which I wasn't able to attend because of medical reasons, but there's been no official councillor briefing, so we'll bless you for attending. Sorry?
There are regular briefings.
Where?
On
The
Teams.
regular briefings for the centre. For the centre. Well, they're ward council briefings, not for the centre, not for the works, not for the projects in the
Not for
centre.
the works, no.
That's the
Is that
whole
what
point.
we're
We're
talking
talking
about?
about the
We're
works.
making the point broader than just these works.
So,
Yeah, I thought that's.
having not had a schedule of these, if I could just continue, we don't have a schedule of these, there hasn't been one. You did get a meeting with David Wildman recently, but unfortunately I wasn't able to attend that one there. So, first of all, we need to establish the fact that there are some briefings for the ward councils, or certainly for ones I get to attend to anyway. Happy to share whatever I get from that one there, but at the minute I've got nothing to share because there hasn't been one.
Yeah, if I can come back, the engagement plan says that on a monthly cycle during construction there'll be a ward council briefing. So either it's happening or it isn't happening. This was published in published in August 25. So it should already be in process. You know, there should have been a September meeting, and there should be an October one planned in. So if there isn't, I would.
We're not sticking to it.
Well, that's okay. I can only speak for how I would deal with this if it were Holme Valley North, right? And I would be more forthright, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it's a case of if there's an engagement plan that's not being followed, perhaps those ward councillors need to ask Marcus Bowell and David Wildman where the briefings are occurring and where they aren't, right? And then, as a part of that, Parish Council perhaps needs to be asked to be in on those briefings. And if they're not happening, if they're not putting them together, that's a separate issue that needs to go, and it needs to go to David Shepherd. And if the 3 ward councillors for Holme Valley South are not capable of taking that forward, pass it to me by all means, and I will have the conversation with the Chief Executive, the leader of the council, and with the Director of Regeneration to make the point if they're not capable of doing so.
They are taking place.
I'd like to make a point.
Councillor Blacker.
Can we move business, please? And vote on those, vote on your legislation.
Councillor Whitelaw.
I think we're dealing with a number of different issues here and trying to put them all in one place. What I put on the agenda on the basis, or what appeared on the agenda on the basis of the email that I circulated was that I thought that we should be making a statement by sending a letter to a range of stakeholders, whoever we decide. I think we should express our lament that the communication and management of this project is causing such distress and negative impact, and would urge those responsible and with influence to rectify this situation without delay, or some such. That was what I was after. Us showing solidarity, appreciation that lots of people are experiencing actually extreme distress of all sorts, and that we should be saying we understand that, and please will you do your damnedest to make sure that you alleviate the things that you can do. That was all. Now that's one thing. It's about showing solidarity. The other things that we've been talking about are aligned with it, obviously, but it's not the same thing.
Councillor Wilk.
Just to answer Charles, yeah, Charles, I agree with you entirely. I've spoken to David Shepherd, who said that he would remedy the situation. I've also spoken to David Wildman. I've got stage 3 complaints in with Chris Reid. The last reply I had on was the 10th of October promising changes, and still we're waiting for that one there. So I've been through all those channels and still seem to be bashing my head against the wall. So but thanks for your concern.
I think we could go around in circles forever here. There's a proposed statement being put in front of me, which I will read. I'll read it word for word. I'll try and...
Well, you just say though, that scribble that just says include parking,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
write that bit in.
But there's a proposal for a statement which has come from Councillor Bellamy. It says, Holme Valley Parish Council recognises the significant disruption and distress being experienced by Holmfirth residents, visitors and especially local businesses as a result of the ongoing town centre works. While we support investment in Holmfirth's infrastructure and welcome efforts to improve accessibility and safety, we are deeply concerned by the way these works have been managed and communicated. The Council urges Kirklees Council and its contractors to take immediate steps to improve communication with traders, residents and road users, providing clear and timely updates about closures, access and progress. We also request a clear outline of the revised project timetable and assurances that every effort is being made to minimise further disruption to Holmfirth's economy and community life. The Parish Council stands ready to work collaboratively with Kirklees Council, local businesses and community organisations to restore confidence and support the vitality of our town centre once the works are complete. We could also put a statement in there about include parking and the request for some form of free parking. Is that a statement that this council would wish to put out?
I think it says what it needs to say. What do you think, Sam? Propose it.
I think that statement incorporates what I have as that.
Can I ask for a show of hands for all those who think that that statement should be sent to Kirklees?
Wasn't there a lot of it?
I get 12.
12 girls at home.
All those against? All those abstaining? Okay. So that's been voted that we will put that message out.
It's all sense. Needs to be new with the clerk.
Yes, we just need to put something about parking. So can I ask the clerical team have a quick look at, from a communication perspective, as to what we could put in there, an extra line about parking, based on again your discussion, maybe with Kirklees, once we recognise how much that might cost. But I think we should put something in there. Can I now agree that we put that matter, Councillor Lyles?
I was just going to say that Damien could tell you what happened last year for Christmas, and you could put that in as an example.
Yeah.
And then that might.
Could probably dig that email out for you.
Yeah. If you could provide that information to the clerical team tomorrow, Damien, that would be really useful. Thank you. Okay.
Ignore anything it says on that, Rich. That's the update for them. Not quite, it's actually the update for them.
We were well in front of time, but funnily enough, we're way behind now. I'm really glad when it happened. Item 117, Urban Nature Reserve Local Nature Action Plan. Councillor Green.
Thank you. We discussed this brief at the previous meeting and decided to set up a working group to put more detail on what monies might be spent on. The outcome of the working group consultation is contained in the proposals on this agenda. Don't want to say any more.
Okay. Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see why we wouldn't want to support this generally. I'm just struggling to understand where the £5,000 were.
That was a recommendation from the clerking team at the previous meeting.
Could it be itemised somehow so we can see
Well,
what it's being spent on?
Design and printing, setting up of social media pages, creation of the database, mapping, funding of possible welcome gifts to people who subscribe to the scheme, subsidy of things like bird boxes, etc., as it says in the proposal.
And do we really think that's £5,000 then?
I think if 100 people in the valley asked us to subsidise Swift boxes, for example, you'd probably spend £5,000 on that. I'm not suggesting we would spend everything on that. you'd have to trust the working group and the clerks to oversee that we were doing it sensibly. But I think if the council considers this is a worthwhile activity, then let's give it the best shot and let's have an appropriate budget and let's do something positive for the valley. And I think it fits in with tourism, and I think it fits in with good publicity for this council. So I move that we accept my proposals.
Councillor Bailey?
I just want to, I would like Richard's advice on how we commit something now from a budget for next year that we haven't even approved yet.
No, I mean this is part of the budget proposal. Yeah, this is part of. I think Councillor Green's basically getting it on the table for our budget process for next year. That's going to be taking place over the next two or 3 months. I don't think we can make a decision now for it because it's something. You know, the amount has to be agreed in the budget process, which is going to take place. So,
can I propose? I know we'll help with this. I've been a bit busy, but can I propose that we do an itemised suggestion billing? You know, break it down so everybody can see what they're getting for the £5,000.
Well, you could give loads of different.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you're doing like seed bombs or getting a local school to make your bird boxes as part of their GCSE joinery course or whatever, and you're providing the wood for that. Do you know what I mean? Just anything really.
I would just comment that we've had other EMRs for tourism and other things that we've put an amount of money to with a description as to how that money will be used, but not a detailed breakdown. I think that would be down to the working group to determine how they use that £5,000 based on the discussions that working group had on the agenda that they've set themselves. Personally, I don't think it's needed to approve the EMR. If we can't do it now, could we at least vote that at the moment we feel this matter should be considered as part of the budget discussions? Can I propose that we do that and vote on that today? So all those in favour? Okay. So that's no guarantee, Councillor Green, but
I'll keep that in mind.
We seem to be.
Well, my suggestion was that it would be more like approved then.
Can I just ask on that? If you want to commence immediately with publicity, do you need a small pot of money to go forward immediately?
Well, are we going to go ahead with it and set the budget or identify where the money's coming from at a later date?
You can't do that yet.
No. So it sounds like no sense.
Okay. But could I suggest if you want something for the big community celebration, you could ask us, the big community celebration, to...
Well, no, because I don't want to publicise something that might not happen. And technically it might not happen.
Oh, right.
As we stand.
Could we set up a working group now?
We don't have a working group.
Right, we've got a working group. So I guess without being able to fully approve it until the budget discussions.
We know what we want to do.
Yeah.
We just want to fund it.
Right.
But we can't do that till 3 months.
Can we approve? We can't. Sorry. We've approved the project in principle.
Yeah.
We're only thinking about the money in next year's budget, so we can carry on.
Yeah,
It's
fine,
yeah.
But it's just that we can't say yes till the money, till the budget. Can't, can't make
But the
money to
project,
give
yes. But the project, yes.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah. Next.
Next, yep, okay. Community governance review. Again, Councillor Bailey.
Well, I'm conscious of the time, and in any case, this was only set for 5 minutes, even in that original agenda. This is not, for me, just a tick box exercise. There is potentially quite a lot to consider in this. As it happens, in terms of the consultation period, obviously individuals, for those of you who've had a chance to read about this, individuals anyone can submit their views in this consultation period. But if we were to express a view as a council, which I personally think we should be considering doing, we won't have time to do that because the next full council actually falls just after the end of this current consultation period, and that is what it is. But there is then, as I understand it, a follow-up consultation period, so a second phase of it, if you like, in 2026, and I think we should be aiming to express our opinions and make a contribution at that point. And I am going to suggest that we set up a dreaded working group to look at this, but I'm also going to suggest that there is potentially certainly a political angle to this, and I suggest that group comprises a member from the Labour group, a member from the Conservative group, and a member from the rest of the non-aligned groups, so that there is that equal input on this.
Okay.
I'm happy, I mean, anyone can put themselves forward if you agree with that. I'm happy to be part of it. I'll put it out there.
So yes, Councillor Bell has made a proposal for a working group.
I would like to second the proposal, but I don't want to be part of it.
Okay. All those in favour of a working group for the community governance review? Can I ask those that would be interested in joining the working group? Okay. Anybody else?
I'll go for now.
Well, you're the only green one, aren't you?
Yeah, but there's lots of independents who
Yeah,
might
but
be
you're
able
not
to better than me.
independently green.
I'm quite happy for you to represent the third group that I think we all we all agree to describe as the same sensible and competent group.
Actually, well, I'll represent the Conservative group.
Yeah,
So we're supposed
my
to be
suggestion would be that, myself, Donna and Chris would make up that group.
Yeah.
Simple.
There you go, join
Next.
Yeah. Okay. The outside unit tenancy resignation.
No,
Just before we leave that one, I mean, could I just emphasise, Lance has pointed out, doing this survey individually. It only takes 2 minutes. So we might as well have our say on this first phase.
I would advise everybody to
Yeah.
put something in anyway.
Okay. The outside unit tenancy resignation. As we know, epics are leaving on the 31st of October. There's work going on the outside building. We need to consider the Parish Council's response to the current situation.
Yeah, as you can see, the works that are going on have stopped them being able to use the building, and they're essentially asking us for them not to have to pay their final month's rent, basically, which seems to be reasonable to me.
Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I would have thought if it's, it's proportional, this, isn't it? The 6th to the 31st that they've not had access, or won't have access, so it seemed reasonable to me to give them that proportion of the rent back, or not charge them for that.
All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, there we go. Updates from the Communications and Engagement Working Group. Best place to do these.
I can talk if you want me to.
Yes.
Just to note the updates of what we've been up to with the action plan. On part 1, I've managed to put TI in there rather than I. Sorry about that. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about today is the big community celebration, because this is the last time I think I will see most of you before that happens. You will have noticed that there's been some rollout, thank you very much to my glamorous assistant over there. There's been some digital rollout already. I will keep plugging away with that over the next few weeks, but if anybody is able to take some flyers and chuck them in wherever you are visiting over the next couple of weeks, that would be really, really helpful. The other main thing that I need to ask you for today is for signing up to help out on the day. I've got 2-hour slots starting 8:30 to 5 p.m. If you can give me 2 slots, that would be brilliant. But you know, just pop in and do 2 hours. We're going to have people meeting and greeting on the door, but we're also going to have a parish council stall so that you can actually have a bit more in-depth conversation with people as well, rather than just pointing them to where they're trying to get to. I've got a piece of paper here. If you can see me on the way out, but if anybody's quite willing to jump in now and tell me that you're coming and what time, that would be also very
I'll
welcome.
put mine in now.
Right, what time is your best?
What time do you start?
Well, setting up is 8:30.
I'll come at 8:30 till 10:30.
Lovely, thank you.
Can people see
Do this
Gemma?
later.
Go on.
Could I just add, just in support of what Gemma has just said, and linking this up with what we were saying just a bit earlier about promoting the town and so on, and celebrating what's good about the valley. This is part of that whole campaign, so, and I think we should view it that way.
Okay. Can people see Gemma at the end for times on the day? We also need to consider authorising the release of up to £5,000 from budget line 4660 to cover expenditure for the big community celebration.
So just to say that is to cover the hire of the publicity, but also to cover the hire of the building, St John's ambulance who are coming down on the day, any other incidentals that we need. I don't expect to hit the 4,000 or 5,000, and there's a bit of buffer in there, but that's what was written into the budget this year.
Can I just add that we're having a meeting to plan the stall the parish council stall tomorrow at 1:30. If you have anything you really want to go on that stall, any ideas, let us have your ideas or information or quotes or positive things to go on the stall. Don't come to it in the last minute and say you want something, because we're planning it tomorrow.
Can I just add to that? I've already emailed Gemma.
Great,
and-
thank you.
Because I can't make that meeting tomorrow. I'm somewhere else.
Thank you.
Councillor White.
Add that it's a great opportunity for that thing about promoting what we do as individual councillors, that whole blog idea, here's what I did last Saturday type of thing, just really concrete stuff about how we actually go about being parish councillors would be great ideas, anything that you've got would be lovely.
Okay, can we vote on releasing the £5,000 please?
Yes,
All those in
please.
favour? Anyone against? Any abstains? Okay.
Okay, there's a part 2 or part 3. Actually, I think I'm going to call on Councillor Holmes to introduce this one because it was your idea. But largely, we used to have a kind of activity at the annual parish meeting, which was the awards, and that got changed into the community celebration. But now our annual parish meeting is a bit sad,
Flat. So we've got to make it more, well, I think it's another opportunity to engage and tell people what we do, but also to share what other people are doing. So the suggestion, well, 2 suggestions really. One, that we invite the recipients of grants to come and, we invite them, it's a sort of thank you, but it's also an opportunity for them to tell us what they've done with the money that we've given them. And so we make it more of an event. And the other suggestion is that because we've committed to democracy in schools, this is like an opportunity to invite schools council to come and have a little bit of political education as to what a parish council is. So those are our suggestions, not yet formalised. We've still got a way to go, but it's not until next March. But we just want you to know that we're thinking of making it a less flat event, because we were just telling ourselves what we'd done this last year.
Okay, all those in favour of putting that on the agenda for the annual parish meeting?
It's not like it warming up.
Planning committee, design guide for shop fronts, request for assistance. Councillor Wilson.
I like how you look at each other all the time.
Yeah, you just well done.
It's like tweedled in,
Yes, you're probably all aware that there is now a design guide out there. We've got a leaflet of this, and we're at the stage of trying to figure out how to get it out into the business community, the businesses that might be affected. I suppose we're in fairly stages of compiling that list of businesses that we need to get it to.
What?
The ones that don't
Exist.
you mean?
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. There are an awful lot. I think there were 402 on the list.
Shop fronts.
Shop fronts, yeah. We need to thin that down, really, and that's the next stage that this little working group's looking at. I think at this point, all I'm asking for is that the default position will be, when we've got this final list, that all councillors help with the distribution, particularly your own wards, but we'll have to share it out somehow. I'd like that to be the default position rather than asking for volunteers.
That's alright, I've got one shop installed.
You
I'm
can
just
dispose it.
I'm just imagining the conversation at the police.
No shops.
Okay,
I think if we can share it out amongst, okay, probably not 23, but the majority of those 23, it'll be a manageable task.
You've got something in Hay Edge as well.
okay. Could we have a vote on whether or not we are accepting that proposal to help with the distribution of the files? Okay. Can we suspend time?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so it's at 9 o'clock, probably just after now. Are we okay to carry on? Suspend time yours and
Yeah.
continue? All those in favour? Thank you. Service Provision Committee, a proposal for a schematic bus map of the Holme Valley from the Sustainable Transport Working Group. This is to consider approving expenditure of up to £2,500 from EMR 346. Who's proposing that one? Okay. All those in favour? All those against? Anyone abstains?
Do you abstain?
Anybody got any questions on that? They voted for it, so.
It's fine.
Home First Toilets re-roofing repairs and solar panel installation. We need to know additional expenditure up to £500 from budget line 4325 for the extension to parking bay booking. And we need any other actions with regards to Home First Toilet repair, renewal and installation of solar panels. Information is on there as to when that work's hopefully concluded. Gemma?
Just to say that I've had an update on Friday from Matt, who's the architect who's project managing everything else apart from the delay in the delivery is on track. It looks good so far, and the panels are now live, so we are now generating electricity for the first time.
Excellent. Item 3, resignation of a member of the Service Provision Committee. This is just to note the resignation of Councillor Isaac Barnett from the Service Provision Committee. Sighting of a parish council bench on Victoria Street. This is from the Service Provision Committee, 2nd September 2025, item 32, to consider approving the recommendation from the Service Provision Committee to enter into an agreement with Wilby's regarding a bench on Victoria Street. Does anybody want to give an update on that one? Or?
Well, it says Councillor Morgan to report.
Well, no, it's just that it's a bench that we own on private land. It's a bit of a weird
The one with the cheese shop.
Yeah.
Doesn't she want that moving?
No, she doesn't actually. But Wilby's create an understanding that it's our bench, their land, and that's got to go.
Oh, because we rent it.
To legalise it.
Yes, legalise it.
Well,
It's a weird one.
Well, you need to propose it.
So you need to propose it.
I need to propose the Wilby thing.
Yeah. It's your committee.
It's my committee, but it's a very strange conundrum. Yeah.
Can I propose that we enter into an agreement with Wilbur regarding the siting of the bench, so we find an agreement on Victoria Street?
I second that.
Seconded. All those in favour?
I do find the fact that it's sat next to a bin though very disturbing.
It's horrible.
It used to be round the other
We
side.
could potentially get the bin and just drop the name out.
That whole bit is in
Oh yeah, and the benches in the
Okay. Dog waste ability earmarked reserve. Councillor Morgan to reply.
No.
Can I
It's over.
Yeah.
That's all done, so it's finished.
You have to propose it.
I have to propose that the earmark reserve
Yes,
goes down.
she's just proposed it.
Thank you.
Second. All those in favour? Reports from Kirklees Ward councillors.
You've heard enough from me, thank you.
Seconded.
Okay.
Scrutiny are looking for co-optees if anybody wants to. Scrutiny? What was that like? Kirklees Scrutiny. They're looking for co-optees if anybody.
What's Kirklees Scrutiny?
They are.
What is
Children's
service. Councillor Greaves?
Yeah, so it's that time of year again, snow wardens, recruitment going out. What tends to happen is that everybody comes after the snow warden window has closed. Donna and Tony have put some posts up inviting people.
I did, Tony did.
So we've got some posts up inviting people to come forward as snow wardens in Holme Valley North, but the scheme's open now. So just to recap, the snow wardens is you and some neighbours, you have some very basic training, a little bit of kit, and in return Kirklees will drop some grit off for you to use in your street, your neighbourhood. The whole idea of that being that unfortunately when we come to a grit bin, the entire contents of a grit bin can be emptied on somebody's drive in the space of one afternoon, whereas actually it's far more beneficial to spread it thinner, and it goes much further. So there are wins with it, but there can also be a lot of pushback in that people do see it as being a Kirklees job that they're being asked to do. But as may be, the pragmatic bit is if you're not on the grit route and you don't have a grit bin, and it's something you're concerned about, you might want to become a snow warden because then you can actually do something about it.
You'll get sugars, you'll get an ices, and you'll get some grit.
You'll be alright, Warren. You could do a bin of snow.
I've just written that down.
Yeah.
So slow, mate.
Yeah, you've got to stay out for the whole winter.
They have to wear red outfits and hats with
Well, just you. Okay, we're all going to be giddy now, aren't we? So anybody that's interested in the snow warden, who do we need to contact?
Contact Kirklees website, right? Google Kirklees Council Snow Warden, and sooner rather than later.
And if anybody wants any information on the scrutiny panels, then Kirklees Scrutiny.
It is in particular then looking for people on the committees of the Children's Scrutiny Panel and the Adult Health and Social Care. They are both very interesting committees.
Councillor Holmes, you had your hand up.
Oh, well, just saying that you were that was being advertised in Holme Valley North, South, North?
No.
Everywhere.
Is it being advertised in Damien? Is it being advertised in this area as well? Great, thank you.
Okay. Request for contact, Holme Valley South Community Connector. Not quite.
Just a note, it's just a notice of information.
Okay. Anybody need any further information on that?
No.
Okay. Training reports for Councillor Blacker, just a note. Is there anything you want to say, Councillor Blacker?
I want to say I'm not quite sure whether these go out of the crack or why. Make a reference to the possibility and then we can go to the more.
Okay. Climate emergency. Consider how actions and decisions taken for the above items reflect the climate emergency. Do you think we've done that today?
Yeah.
Do I need to vote on that one or not?
No.
Items for publicity, apart from the Gartside building having its own electricity.
Yeah, that's
So-
what that's
big
just starting at the solar panels, that's brilliant, and the refurbishment nearly being completed later.
And obviously the big event is the other publicity.
Can we
I'm gonna wait till the,
publicise that we're going to have an urban lectures?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about happening, yeah.
We can publicise the intention to do it, Caroline.
Can I raise an issue very briefly? I'd just like to thank the parking team for their hard work for tonight's meeting. We're only down, they're down by a third and they've done us well, so thank you.